PCA community, I'm standing here as you can hear the wonderful joyous screams of the playground above me and see the waterfront behind me. And I'm standing on the ground where about a month ago, about 120 of us gathered to talk about the future of the school and where we're trying to take it as we sought to raise funds for scholarships and other great projects. Next few minutes, I want to recap about what we talked about and give you another indication of where we're going. We talked a little bit about where the school had been in the last few years and how challenging our enrollment and the environment of raising and sustaining a Christian school like ours has been, but we also highlighted how God has provided. As we start to come out of COVID, one of the other things that we have found that's energized our community is to start to think and dream about what the school could be. And so we wanted to take everybody outside, and the first stop we took them to was down to the waterfront, and where we stood looking out over the Bellamy River, standing on the future side of the amphitheater, but also dreaming and talking about how we could improve our playground for our kids to make it more natural, how we could get a path out for even some of our slower and disabled walkers so they can enjoy the views and the full extent of the waterfront, and how we can do that relatively soon. We heard from a great teacher and how Jessie Graustein integrates her teaching here, as well as the possibility for fine arts. We then moved just up the road to a position overlooking our current soccer field, and we start to dream and talk about what it would take to put a track in place so that we could support our very competitive track and field teams, many of whom are current state champions, many of whom go on and compete at the collegiate level, and what it would take to do that, and do it in a way that we could get at with our community over time. To build it in different layers and levels, starting with a grass track and then moving on to a asphalt track and then continuing on to a turf field, even bleachers and lights, and to dream a little bit how exciting it was to hear from Coach Chevenel and his athletes and the impact spiritually, athletically that they have had on each other and those around them in our entire school. Then we just walked up behind the gymnasium annex and we started to look and talk about what it would take to put in a training facility. What Coach Chevenel explained to us was how challenging and difficult it is for winter sports in particular to train and gain strength. Right now, they do it in the hallways of the high school, jumping over each other, sprinting up and down the stairs in the hallways, and they make do and they do with great spirit. But what would it take for them to be able to have a facility that we could get the whole team in bad weather, and not just the track team, but also off-season to train our basketball athletes, our soccer teams, our baseball and softball athletes from the junior high up. It was fun to see people's eyes light up when we even started to dream about a training facility that would enable our junior high and high school athletes to train and compete at even higher levels than they already do, and then even give those who aspire to the collegiate level a real place where they can develop their physical capabilities. We closed out by standing on the baseball field, but looking back over the land behind us and starting to dream with our neighbors, the Gasses, about what PCA's long future could be in terms of expanding our ball fields and growing and gaining the land up the hill. And that's just at its beginning stages, but what an exciting thing to think about of working with this family so closely to expand PCA's footprint and capability for your sons, daughters, and grandchildren. Then we transitioned back inside, where we enjoyed a wonderful meal and fellowship around the tables before Maggie Andrus, one of our seniors, and Jordan Heckelman, our upper school principal, gave us the highlights of our leadership development program as it's playing out at the high school and soon to be at the junior high levels. Then next came Susie Nerona, one of our board members, and she shared her heart and vision and her journey about giving to and supporting Christian education, specifically scholarships for young men and women, boys and girls, so that they could benefit from all that excellent Christian education can bring. And finally, we heard from Jay and Danae Ludwig, PCA parents, also ministers into the Seacoast and Greater Boston community, and their desire and their heart to bring their kids here, and how our variable tuition program and donors and supporters like you have enabled that to happen and what that means to them. Thank you, Jay and Danae, for sharing your heart for not just your kids and your family, but more children all around the Seacoast who could come to schools such as PCA. As we wrapped up the evening, we asked families who are there if they would prayerfully consider supporting PCA this year. Specifically, we're looking to raise $425,000, the vast majority of it going to our variable tuition program. We also asked for people to prayerfully consider supporting the projects that we laid out at the waterfront, at the track, our training facility, and possibly even prayerfully thinking about land. And so far, they answered that call to an extraordinary level, almost $140,000 already just from this single event. So if what you've seen and heard here in this recap whets your appetite to learn more, to come alongside with your giving, either towards the plans that you saw here or toward our variable tuition program, please reach out to us. Connect with Elena Russo or me. We're so thankful for you. We're so thankful for your vision and care and investment in Portsmouth Christian Academy, our people, our program, and our places. God bless you, and may you have a blessed Thanksgiving and Christmas season.